Yo, what's up, fam? Episode 29. I convinced the great Sam Singh to come on, dude. I want to say first off, thank you. I hit you up like 2 hours ago because Daryl was dealing with an emergency. I want to say thank you so much for figuring a way to clear up your schedule a little bit and come on anyways and come hang out with me.
Yeah, no, first and foremost, I hope everything's okay with Daryl. He's a good friend of
Yeah.
mine. So we'll
I think
definitely have
I
to
think
check
it's
in on
fine. I
him.
think what he said is I think his cousin got stranded. I think that's what happened. I think his cousin is like stranded in the middle of nowhere, but he's gonna get her. Like it's not what I thought it was. I thought it was like she was in the hospital or something.
Got
But
you. Okay, that's better. So stranded like on the side of the road, maybe
I
not on
think
an island.
I'm hoping it's just like a not AAA thing. I don't know. I'll talk to him later.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll jump on a three-way call and make sure everything's okay. Hopefully, it's not like stranded on an island, right? Like deserted in the
Yeah.
middle of the ocean.
Middle of
Um,
Pennsylvania, so I don't know. I don't know what it's like in Pennsylvania in the middle of nowhere, but maybe it's not good. Maybe it is. I have no
rough
clue.
street, man. Pennsylvania. When you think Pennsylvania, it's tough customers out there.
But
But
anyways,
no,
either way, thank you.
but I'm glad to be here, man. I'm absolutely glad to be here. Anytime I can spend with you is a good time. So 100%, guys. I was actually out about to walk a deal, and then Jonah calls me, and I literally am like, seller, I don't care. 20, 30, okay, keep it. I gotta go. I gotta run back home.
That's so funny. That's 100% a lie, but I like the lie. I love that.
No,
I
man,
mean,
I'm glad to be here though. It's always a good time hanging out with the funniest guy in the world.
for sure. But 100%. So, okay, let's recap. Like, we talked about your story on the last one a lot, right? So I don't necessarily this time I'm gonna do something a little bit different than what I normally do. Like I'm gonna kind of almost take off where like you were in your business. Like, what's happened since the last time I've talked with you? Because you've been exploding. Like you've been doing all sorts of crazy things. Like how long have you been in the business now? 8 months? Right,
Eight
like eight
months.
or 9 months?
Yeah, just came up on 8 months. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've done how many deals?
34 wholesales are closed, and yeah, that's not counting all the other stuff.
I mean, you're doper than me. I've closed only 25. They're California deals, but nonetheless, still doper. Still
I
more
don't
than
I don't mess with California stuff, bro. So I mean, actually, you get like those are worth two each, so that's 50. So
maybe.
that's tough to stand by, man. Like
But
California.
either way, you're crushing it. It doesn't really matter. But tell me, dude, like you've been telling me you've been getting into Airbnb arbitrage. What creative stuff have you got going? Like what's cooking in the kitchen?
Yeah, it's actually amazing, man. So you and I hung out in Vegas recently. How long ago was that? It was like a month, 2 months ago. It
2 months.
was yeah, it feels more recent than that. And as you know, I kind of got whisked away to hang out with some really high level people doing some really special things. And that choice encounter was amazing. It actually changed the trajectory of not only my business but my the partnerships that I have, and the trajectory of my life has actually been altered in a phenomenal way.
Can I ask
And
who? Or not yet?
yeah, no, absolutely. About who I hung out with.
Yeah. Who you
Yeah,
hang out
absolutely.
with? Is it Bill Gates? Like who was in Vegas that I didn't know about? Was it
Someone,
TI?
someone right up there. So actually, one of the people that I got to hang out with who, has had such a profound impact on me is a guy named Robert Wensley. He's the owner of Investor Lift, and Logan and I actually had him on our podcast yesterday. And he spent an hour and a half with us on the podcast, probably a collective hour with us outside of just a live broadcast. And, hanging out with him and getting connected with his people and finding mutual relationships there have resulted in some phenomenal partnerships. And I got to hang out with Robert again, maybe about 2-3 weeks ago in Phoenix at the All In event. And so many high level connections came out of that. It's and I'm talking about people who are, some of whom are doing over 7 figures a month.
Yeah.
And these are people that like now I get to have on speed dial who are really helping me skip years of learning curve. And they're really kind of helping me expedite the process. And it's been an amazing ride. It's been crazy as heck. It's been like
Talk about
terrifying.
that for a second. Hold on. I want to, because you told me once, and this is just because we're good friends, so I'm going to bring up stuff that I already know. You told me once your superpower was getting into rooms of incredibly high level people.
Yeah.
that like your superpower is like I hang out with billionaires
Yeah.
basically, or like multi millionaires, and I know how to get into those rooms.
100 million plus. It is
So how
no.
do we? So Sam, what's the secret? How do we know all these rich people like you?
So here's the thing. It's so funny that you asked that. I was on a Marlon Johnson's podcast. He's a good friend of both of ours, and he asked me the same thing. He was like, "Sam, why the hell is that every time I see you, you're like you're hanging out with this crazy Zuckerberg type?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, and we thought about it. I sat there and I thought about this because I think you're right. My superpower is getting into very, very high level rooms, and I don't know that there's like a method of entry that's always going to work. And I don't think
Mm,
there is a method of entry. I think consistently what I do is if there's ever going to be like making a plan of attack, it's just getting myself around more high level people. Maybe not the billionaires, right? Because the billionaires, like you have to get some special invites and stuff.
right, right,
But
right.
what I'm really good at doing is if I'm in a room, if we're at an event, right? If we're at an event, let's just say the all in event. The speakers are probably most of the net worth and the wealth is usually up on the speaker stage. Now the speakers are usually limited access, right? And that's by nature, and that's fine. The reality is there's people in the front row seating who are worth 20, 25 million
Interesting.
who are close friends with the speakers. And usually it's not that I intend to go do that. I've actually realized that I inadvertently ended up doing that. And I found the connection and I was like, oh, is that what I've been doing this whole time? Because I was thinking about it. There's never like a methodical mode of entry to get into these rooms. But I kept realizing, like, well, it's just I know someone who knows someone and they like me enough to want to hang out with me more. And
I like it. So it's basically the whole what my dad always said: sit in the front of the classroom because you're gonna learn more and like you're gonna be with the more smarter people.
I
That's
love
what
that
I
you said
heard.
that, man. I love that you said that in college. You know, in high school, I was a slacker. In high school, here's the thing: I was a problematic young person, and I skipped over almost 200 days of high school. So
Damn.
don't do that. Don't do that. But when I got to college, I was like, man, I want to crush it in this world. I need to be someone. And if I sit in the back of the classroom and I don't show up, I'm not going to learn anything. I'm not going to get this degree. I'm going to suck at life. And I don't want to suck at life. That sucks.
Right.
So I decided let's just start being in the front of the class. And how does that translate in events? I don't know, man. I really don't know that
You
there's a
said it. Literally sit in the front. Sit in the front
yeah.
row. Like I think that like I mean, I don't know if you did that, but like I feel like that's actually not bad advice to just literally go to the VIP section where somebody
Speaking
paid a
of
lot of
VIP,
money and start talking to those people.
oh yeah. Oh
That
yeah.
seems
So
like it.
it's there's a lot of that, right? There's a lot of getting around certain people, and then here's one thing that I've actually learned. Anyone in this industry who is doing big things, right? I'm not saying that people you have to go hang out with people who are doing 50 million a year, but the guys who are still worth 2, 3, 4, 5 million, chances are they know some extremely powerful people. And they can
Right.
be like the connecting point between you and this person. Now, here's the key. You actually have to be a likable human being so you can get invited to the after party, so you can go hang out with these people when they're
I
doing the
like it.
fun stuff. So it starts off that way. And Marlon and I talked about this. It's not, I don't, now I'm thinking there's a commonality, a way of going about it. But the key is this, man. The key is that once you find yourself in that room, here's what happens. People do one of two main things, actually one of three main things. Number
Mhm.
one is they realize they don't belong in that room. I get to hang out with people in Phoenix at the All In event. I was probably by far the lowest net worth, probably by far the lowest performer there. And these people are doing, on the low end, some of them are doing multiple six figures a month. On the high end, there were people doing over $2 million a month.
I feel it.
And here's the thing. A lot of times I know that my business doesn't reflect me being in that room. And what people will do, they will see that and they will actually hit the panic button and they will self eject and they'll kick themselves out of the room. And then here's the thing. You do that, you're done. You're not going to get back in. No second
Right.
chances. Right? That's option A. People, they freak out. Option B, they realize where they're at. They want to stay. And what do they end up doing? They put on a facade. They pretend to be a six-figure earner. They pretend to be someone who's
Yeah.
7 figures, right? And here's what ends up happening. I know a lot of very, very wealthy people who are very powerful. And you know what? You know what's the one common trait between all of them? is they all have extremely high levels of emotional intelligence. They
Right.
can spot a fake person a mile away. And when you
Right.
do that, guess what? Now they're going to kick you out of that room.
Right.
Both of the first two options, you're done. You're not getting back out. You're not getting back in. Option 3 is what me and Marlon talk about. This is what I intentionally do. I go out of my way to do this. And that's that recognize where you're at. Recognize the opportunity ahead of you. Be self-aware that you don't belong in that room right now. Then go out of your way, be relentless as a positive, impactful, amazing human being, build some relationships, actually showcase. Don't be afraid of the fact that you're not making $1 million a month. It's okay. Actually be genuine. And all those people, believe it or not, so everyone forgets this, those people are human beings who want friendships and actually want to hang out and have good conversations. And like, people are terrified of that. They don't realize that. They think if my net worth isn't $20 million, I shouldn't be here. The reality is you're already there.
Right.
Don't quibble about whether or not you deserve to be there. Earn your spot there by being a good person. And guess what? Every time I do that and I focus on that, I always walk away with everyone's phone numbers. Everyone wants to partner with me. I get re-invited to the next dope thing. And then like, because of that, my business and my personal life, and honestly, like myself as a human being, I feel myself consistently involved, like evolving in a massive way. So I think that's the secret, man.
So, okay. So let's try to, because like you're insanely good at this. When I started, I for sure still had that like little bit of like, I'm not worthy of this. I still have that a little bit sometimes of being like, okay, I got to get to a certain level before I can associate with certain people. Even Pace, like I might do this eventually. I'm going to do it soon. I'm going to ask him, but I haven't asked him to come on the podcast because I'm like nervous. He's like not even going to respond, even though I should just ask him anyway because he's a boy. Right. Yeah. Also, he's just super busy. But even in my own head, I'm like, man, like this podcast isn't at a level where like I could get a Brent Daniels, a Steve Trang, a Pace Morby, those types of people on the podcast. Well, I've seen your podcast. I don't know if you've had any of those guys on, but I've seen you guys had some pretty freaking high level people on there. So like, what's your advice to people who are like dealing with that, who are like, man, I don't know if I'm good enough to get to associate myself with somebody who's on that high of a level?
100%. That's a damn good question. And here's the thing. If we consciously wait until we're ready to be in those rooms,
it'll never happen.
It's never going to happen. It's just the way,
right.
It's just the way that is. And that's an element of it. So Logan and our podcast has been going on for
2 months, 3 months.
Super short amount of time. Stupid short amount of time, right? And we've had multiple clever speakers, right? People who were paid to be on stage at Clever Summit, we've had come out for free and hang out with us. And on top of that, we've had, let's recap a little bit. We have a guy who's about to be a billionaire within the next 5 years, who's going to own over $1 billion of real estate in the next 5 years. We've had someone who's got almost 1.2 million followers. We've had multiple TV stars. We've had Laura Morby, was one of the best episodes we've ever done.
I heard that one. I need to watch that one. 2
hours. There were tears, literally multiple times. It was an amazing episode. Laura graced us, and like, we had Robert freaking Wensley. Yeah. Right. In his story is insane. I firmly believe that he's going to be the Mark Zuckerberg of real estate, and pun intended, because he actually had Mark Zuckerberg's dorm room at Harvard. And
that's so random.
And like, I haven't publicly said this yet, but next week we have someone who's also not just an extremely high performer, but we have someone who's trained high performers. We have Kent Clothier coming on next week. And so, and here's the thing though.
So what'd you do? Did you just ask and you weren't a baby about it?
We're professional DM sliders. That's what Logan and I call ourselves. We actually slide into everyone's DMs. And here's actually the trait. Carlos Salguero taught me this, because I saw him go on Marlon's podcast. I'm like, that guy seems great. I want him on mine. But he said, if anyone is well-known or famous or affluent or powerful in real estate or powerful in our industry, period, they're getting 20 podcast requests a day. Right? They leave everyone on red.
Right.
I can promise you, Logan and I are probably one of the only few teams of people out there that are actually consistently following up. in an extremely respectful manner, in a graceful manner. And it's only a matter of time. And eventually it's like, what in our industry, what do we know? Fortune's in the follow-up, right?
So tell me, so what is the follow-up? So let's go through it. So what's the first text? What's a Instagram? How do you do it? Give us the secret sauce right now.
What's the drip campaign?
What's the drip campaign, dude? I wanna know what the drip campaign is. I wanna know how to close the multimillionaire. Because I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it after this. I'm gonna see who I can get on in 2 or 3 weeks.
So yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of funny, right? Assuming that you can't get a personal kind of connection, or you've never actually just arbitrarily been in the same room with them, and you have to rely on a totally virtual setup. And for anyone that's watching podcasts, or you're thinking about doing your own podcast, I promise you, I've learned this. The power of a podcast in our space in entrepreneurship isn't necessarily in how many viewers you get. It's not. I'm gonna tell you right now, we're not even 15 episodes in. We're brand spanking new, and Logan and I, we actually firmly agree that, yeah, we want 1 million people to watch us. But if they don't, it actually doesn't matter, because all of these doors are opening with people who are worth $100 million plus. And those doors are actually worth more than viewers.
Right.
So anyone who's actually thinking about it, 100%, I recommend you do it. Now, what does that look like when you start reaching out? Except that you're going to have to get people that maybe not a lot of people know. And that's okay. And what you're actually going to want to do is start building. Here's the thing. You actually aren't on anyone's radar.
Right.
When no one knows who you are, and that's okay. What you do, you follow them. You engage with their stuff. You repost their stuff. You're just a constant presence of positivity, right? Don't be weird. Don't be stalkerish. Don't be a creep. But think about, like, if I were to post content, I don't want someone who's like liking and reposting all of my stuff in a very like weird kind of creepy manner. But I want someone who's going to consistently be positive, right? And share my message and connect with things in a meaningful way. You do that long enough, you're going to start being on their radar. Then what you're going to actually find out is a lot of those people are going to start commenting back. They're going to DM you back. They're going to thank you. And then you're going to have inroads to some dialogue. Now, when the time comes for you to actually go ahead and make that pitch, be hyper respectful of their freaking time, right? And then if they leave you on red, it actually does not mean that they're saying no. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you guys this firsthand. I get like 50 random text messages a day just from people from our community, and I probably leave 49 of them on red. And it's not because I don't want to reply. It's because I'm an idiot and I think I reply, and then I don't. Right. So keep following up. Fortune's going to follow up, and like, what's the worst that can happen? They're going to say no, like officially say no. Best case scenario, you schedule them out, you get them on, you show them a great time, you give them value, and then they're going to come back on again. They'll open doors. It's absolutely freaking amazing what can happen. I
feel like an idiot because what I do, for instance, on my Instagram stories, I don't know if you've noticed it, I'll do like like podcast inspirations. And I've had some high level people hit me up, and all I say is like, thank you, like, you're amazing. And I'm realizing I should have kept that conversation going. I'm going to like try to get it up again. Like I had a mini conversation going with Carlos Reyes, but I don't know. I was like, is this his VA or is this him? I have no idea. Might be his.
So I've had several interactions with Carlos from the All In event to after on social media. It's actually him, dude.
Damn.
You'll know it's him because he'll actually send you audio messages on Instagram. Okay. And Carlos Reyes, shout out to Carlos Reyes. He's a freaking amazing human being. These 2 top bracelets that I'm wearing were actually made by his daughter.
Oh, that's crazy.
Dude, he's an amazing, phenomenal human being. Right. So we're live on Instagram right now. I just noticed Daryl Ellison freaking joined. Daryl, I hope that your cousin.
Wait, are you live, bro?
I'm live on IG.
God damn it, dude. I'm live. So we're just literally like competing here. Hold on a second, dude. You put oh wait, no. I'm gonna let you do it live because the issue is there's like backdoor. I got you. Don't do that. I've tried it before where 2 people go live, but then there's like back audio. So never mind.
I have to. I was challenged for a 30-day challenge to go live every single day by JJ, who was on our podcast, and then he so I can't miss. It's just nice. I have to do it. So I'm almost up. But all that being said, man, 100% follow up with those people. Nurture those. It's actually just, believe it or not, it's weird. Yes, is there strategy behind building relationships for business with these people? Yes, there absolutely are. Now here's the thing. They're freaking human beings. Be kind, be courteous, be respectful, and be friendly. And like, don't be a creep. Don't badger them. Don't harass them. Understand that these people are probably working 60, 70 hours a week, managing the empire that they're trying to build, and just be a continued force of positivity. If you
Right.
do that, eventually the time's going to come up. And if those people just end up being jerks and they like continually just blow you off, then that's great. That's great. They actually saved you further effort because now you know what it's going to be like. And I promise you, this has actually already happened to me. We had people who, I had someone who, before anyone outside of Sub 2 knew my name, I was like starting to become a big deal in Sub 2. And before anyone knew my name, this person was making some really phenomenal inroads in real estate. And they're starting to become a bigger name. I'm not going to name them. And I was like, dude, you're freaking awesome. I would love to connect with you. I just reached out to him. This person blew me off, and he was a total jerk. And
He's talking about me, guys. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it wasn't me. I was nice to him.
Yeah, you've always been nice to me. But then this person, so he sees us just crush it. He's like, oh, you've had 4 people with blue check marks on your podcast. I'm like, yeah, we're doing pretty okay. And then he slides into my DMs and he's like basically asking to come on the podcast. And it's like, you know what? We're booked out till September. I'll reach out when we're not booked out till September. You're just not going to get on the podcast. It's not going to happen. Why? Because you weren't a good human being back.
Right.
So there's people out there who you may want on it, but they're just not awesome people. And that's okay. Go find the awesome ones. There's people that we've had on who've had millions of followers, have been on TV, have been paid $50,000 to speak on stages. They'll come on and spend 2 hours with us for free. And they're just dope human beings.
Okay.
And here's the thing, though. I will say this one last part. Once they name it, it's totally not you, bro.
I know it wasn't me. It's just funny.
No, Naaman's in the IG right now. What's up, bro? Naaman's awesome. So here's the thing, though. Once you've had them on, right? Continue to nurture that relationship. Do kind things for them. Be present in their lives and actually become friends with them. And that's how you get invited to the yachts. That's how you get invited to the after parties. That's how you start doing meaningful things with these people. And like, lo and behold, just be a good human being.
So give us an example. Like, tell us time where you knew nobody. You didn't know this person at all, right? Like, this is just a person you're like, damn, I want to connect with that human being. What did you do? What was the process? Just tell me one.
Yeah, from the podcast,
just anybody that you've been like, I really want to connect with them. They're way higher level than me. How do I do that?
Well, 100%. So one of the, I'll ask you, Jonah, do you know who the very first person we had on our podcast was?
It was me.
It was you.
Yeah, I remember that.
You. And it's funny because you and I have actually never done business, and we may never do business, and that's okay, right? The reality is I saw you as a phenomenal human being. You were funny as hell, right? All of my mentors, right? Pace loves you. Jamil loves you. I'm like, dude, this guy is cool and he's in good circles. I want to be friends with him. And we just nurture that relationship. But let's talk about, I want to talk about Jay. Jay is a phenomenal guy. If you guys aren't following Jay, it's at JJ Live. He's this phenomenal Australian dude. He's in America. He's got 1.2 million followers. His content's been watched almost 60 million times globally. Insane numbers. Insane numbers, right?
Okay.
And his thing is something you and I are very much, cognizant of right now, and that's building personal brand.
Right.
And he's an expert at it. So Logan and I were like, hey, we're understanding this. We're doing this podcast. We want to build personal brand. We know it's going to open doors for us. And Logan and I have an obsession with being on camera. I don't know about him, but I do. I actually do. And so we loved his vibe. He's a showman. He used to work he was like a magician. He did magic shows. Very tried and true old school showman. I loved it. We reached out to him, got him on a podcast. He said yes, had a great time. After, I want to actually nurture the relationship with Jay because Jay can open up a lot of doors. Now, just by talking to him, right, and just and bringing more value to the table, Jay's helping me with my personal branding. He's helping me be very strategic and intentional. A lot of the things that you and I are going to talk about probably offline, you'll actually see how the puzzle pieces all fit together. And right now they're all fitting together to do one thing. And that's going to be throwing my first event next spring.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize this, man. I haven't said this publicly, but forget it. I'm going to do it. It doesn't really matter. I want people to know, especially if they're like doing their own podcast. It's like, if you're strategic with it and you build these relationships the right way, one of the greatest ways to build your personal brand is through association. And when I throw my first event, what I'm actually doing is I'm creating right now on my podcast a short list of people that I want my guest speakers to be.
I love that.
And those people, millions of followers, TV stars, massively impactful, massively wealthy, right? But on top of that, it's just
everyone Sam's talking about is secretly me also.
If you guys haven't watched the origin story, just know that it's actually Jonah comes on.
I'm the guest on every single event. I'm the guest speaker at the entire event.
Every time. You can actually co-host. Like, I would actually love for you to come and co-host, and it'll be like the funniest banter ever.
I mean, if you let me, I'm in, dude. Like, I'm 100% in. If you need a co-host and you want me just fucking around up there, I wouldn't fuck around. I'd actually help, you know, like I wouldn't just be an idiot. But if you actually want like help with it, I'm in. I'd love to throw an event.
I would love for you to
I'm just saying, if you want it, it's if you want a partner.
I would love for you to be there, period, in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
If I could have you there.
I'm for sure attending. That's for sure. That's already a given. As soon as you start selling tickets, I'm buying it.
Dude, it's amazing. I love that. And it's so funny. One of the people, I was talking to them, and this guy who's basically a jerk to me, and it's like, hey, congrats, you're never going to be on the podcast now. He and I were talking a little bit, and he was just, and I'm like, I'm nice. I'm never going to be like, hey, piss off, right?
Right.
But I was telling him, it's like, yeah, I'm building towards my first event. And then he asked if he could be a speaker. And the answer is heck no.
Right.
And this person has like 75,000 followers. They're kind of a big deal. They speak consistently at a lot of events and they get paid to do so. It doesn't matter.
Right.
If you're not a dope human being, I don't want to share a stage with you.
Right.
So a lot of people, when you get into the podcast, think about it this way. It's not about like, one, put value first. There's not a single guest that we haven't had on that hasn't given tons of value to my audience.
Right.
If I have people watching, you need to give them value. If you don't, if you just sit there and chat, that's great. We have a good time. You're probably not going to get invited again. But every single guest so far has given people tangible things that they can go and build empires with. They can go have their companies evolve, build massive partnerships.
Right.
And that's a requirement. So people, anyone who's thinking about getting into podcasting, I know Jonah does this in an amazing way. And it's understand the value propositions, understand being intentional for yourself too as a host. Are you meaningfully connecting with these people for your own business? Are there partnerships that can come out of this? And if you just start asking yourselves those questions, I love this. Robert Wensley came on yesterday on the podcast, and he just blew our freaking minds with all the things that he's doing and all the things that he's done in his life, right, outside of Investor Lift. And one of the things that he did is he said that one of his mentors told him to go do just in life, go do things you love doing, you have fun doing, and just be curious and find ways to make money off it. And I'm getting podcast guests in the entertainment industry. We're going to have, right now, like we're scheduling someone. We're not fully committed, but we have like a Hall of Famer pro athlete. Like, of course they invest in real estate and stuff, but like this person's not going to partner with me on deals. There's other things that can happen. Where can we connect the dots in business to some way, shape, or form? And
I love it.
It's always being curious. If you lead with curiosity, one, it's fun. And you as a human being, I know this, you're actually a curious human being. It's actually one of the things that makes you very, very fun. You and Medium Wave Dave, who's a great friend of ours, he leads with curiosity. And when you do that, you end up finding very unique ways to make money with other people.
I love it. No, I love it a lot. So, okay, I kind of interrupted you, but I still want you to go through more of the example. So, JJ, millions of followers, but you don't know him. What do you message him?
So here's the thing. It's leading with gratitude. We lead with gratitude. We make sure we find out what his message is. His message, Jay's message, is about people understand the greatness that they have inside them and bringing it to the forefront, having it be a highlight in their business and helping them understand how they can actually change their lives by showcasing their greatness in their business. That's Jay's message. I take it upon myself to help people see that message. So what do? Jay takes clients. He has clients who he works with in the personal branding space. I know people who are making that effort, who want to connect those dots, who want to start building their personal brand, but they need accountability. They need starting steps. They need a little bit of hand holding. I'm not selling them on any packages. all I'm just going to do is connect the dots and provide. What am I doing? For Jay, I'm actually providing him opportunities. That's actual value. So
You
let
mean
me
like
ask,
he's looking for customers? Is that what you mean?
yeah, he is. Every single one of us. Every single one of us is looking for an opportunity. If someone wants to, if someone hits up Jonah on Instagram and they say, "Hey, can we just have a call just to chat?" You're probably going to say no because we
It's
don't
really
have the
annoying.
time. It's annoying. But if
Yeah.
someone leads with, like, what does leading with value mean? I've got a lead. It looks like this. I've got an opportunity. I've got a deal. I need, like, here's a direct way for me to bring actual value. Now, that
Right.
value may be monetary, and that's okay. That value may be friendship based. It may be like hobby based. For Robert Wensley, like, not only am I a lieutenant on Investor Lift who's really soon hoping to be a cartel boss because I'm scaling my business, but one of the things with him is I decided almost immediately after meeting him is, one, he's a phenomenal human being. Two, like, I'm already a lieutenant. That's a lot of money. The reality is money is not going to be the value add that makes sense. The value add is actually being a great human being, because a lot of people are viewing you for the money. So with Jay's looking for clients. If I can connect him with a high level real estate investor or a high level business entrepreneur who wants to build up their social media, who wants to build up their brand, and they've got the money to play ball at a high level, I'm not selling anyone anything. I'm just connecting the dots. And if something great
I like
happens,
it.
then great. It's what we talk about, right? It's leading with value, but doing it in a very methodical, intentional way.
So I got you. So it's always leading with value. I had a feeling it was this, but then this is where I have trouble because like I'm doing to do this, right? Like I'm actually going to take action on this right afterwards. So
You're just gonna DM me.
that was creative in the way that you figured out how to add value to somebody. I sometimes have trouble figuring out, it's like, okay, how do I actually add value to this person, right? Like, let's take, I don't know, let's just take anybody big in real estate. We were talking about Carlos. Like, what would it be? Like, to me, I would think like I can do blatant flattery. I can just, I can creepily repost his videos. Like, how do you find out how somebody needs value? How do you find
Beautiful.
out somebody else's needs? I've always found that tricky a little bit.
Beautiful. Let's say Carlos, for example. I believe Carlos has about like 30 companies. Okay. I believe he's got like 30 companies and more. He's a serial entrepreneur. I believe he's making tens of millions. I don't know how much. He's probably making multiple.
Probably that.
Yeah, multiple 8 figures a month, or maybe 8 figures a month, 8 figures a year. I don't know. He's crushing life, right? Except right off the bat that you cannot bring financial value to this person outside
Right.
of maybe
Exactly.
joining a mentorship. But the reality is that's bringing value to the company and not to the person.
Right.
That's something that people don't realize. When you get these high level people, you sign up for a mentorship, it's 20 grand. That's great. It's great. It's opening a door, but is it the most effective, efficient way to do it?
Right.
I always say no. I refuse. And I'm also a cheapskate, so I don't want to pay for stuff. So, two, you look at other things they care about. Other things. We had Dan Young, Clever Summit speaker. He spoke about crypto. He's a phenomenal human being. He's worth insane amounts of money. But he talks about this. He talks about how every billionaire that he gets mentored from, they're all like 80 years old. He doesn't pay them any money at all. He meets them. Where does he meet them? He meets them at charity events. And that's beautiful. It's so smart. Why? Because they wouldn't be at a charity event if they didn't care about that cause. And
Right.
his relationship with them is going to be foundationed on charitable acts. He's actually set himself aside. If you meet someone at a charity event and you're a billionaire, you know this person's a great human being. You know this person has a shared moral interest as you, right? And he nurtures that further and further and further. So with Carlos, we take Carlos, for example. Carlos is an interesting one. One, he's got a message he wants to share. Share his message. He may not see it. He may never see it because he gets DM'd 50,000 times a day, right? But let's play that. Maybe he sees it. Maybe he notices. Maybe, here's the other thing that people don't realize. Carlos has friends that he cares about. Carlos has family that he cares about. We're placing such an emphasis on Carlos. Let's place an emphasis on the people that he cares about and he wants to see succeed. People who are in his circle. You want to know one of the best ways to get into my circle is to actually take care of the people that I love. I have friends who do so much for me, and they're not on camera all day like I am. They're not doing all these things that I am, and they go out of their way to take care of me and open up doors for me. If you open up a door for them and I find out about it, I'm going to relentlessly give to you.
I like it. I like the idea of watch their stuff and then figure out, like, from that you'll find like an extra way. Like, you're right, it is getting creative. I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. I like it. I like it a lot. It's a good idea. It's like, if you really want to connect with someone, first watch their content and then be appreciative of the content, and then somehow connect the content back to anything you could add of value. And I also like, it's not going to work with everybody. Like, it's just not going to happen with every single person, but try with a bunch of different people, see what happens.
Yeah, man, it's an amazing thing. And like, people sleep on the whole idea. It's like Carlos has a daughter. She's young. She's amazing. And she is getting into she, at the All In event, decided to be an entrepreneur and then create product and sell it.
Yeah.
Now, I love bracelets. You know me. I'm always wearing
bracelets. That's a good idea. That's like, if you're exactly, like, if you're friends with their family, that's a huge in right there.
Well, look at my partner, Logan, my podcast co-host, Logan. We had Dan Young come on. Dan Young has a daughter. I believe she's like 21 or 22. She's in her young 20s, I believe. And she has this store of these amazing, so beautifully crafted, like, there's kind of like anime knickknack type things. Like, there's plushie toys, there's cool sculptures. There's like a Cerberus sculpture that she makes, like hand makes. It's amazing. And what does Logan do? He has a daughter who's 3 years old, and she likes stuff like that. So Logan goes and orders a bunch of it and gives it to his daughter. And then Dan sees it, and Dan's like, hey, you just supported my daughter in her entrepreneurial endeavors. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
A lot of times we focus so much on the person, we forget that if we just try to go, like, it's like this. Try cold calling the person. It ain't ever going to work. It ain't ever going to work. But they've got a circle of people that they care about, a sphere of influence. Give value to them. It's only a matter of time before you get to the person that you were originally after.
I like that. I like that a lot. It's like, you might not even get to the right person. You're gonna have to start by going to their assistant, or like buying their daughter's products, or whatever it might be. I like it. I'm gonna try some stuff out, dude, and I'm gonna see. I'm gonna shout you out every time I get somebody who I don't know personally, because so far it's been people like are my friends, or like people I know in the business, right? So it'd be pretty cool if I can. I'm gonna try to finesse this. I'm gonna do it.
One of my greatest accomplishments in life is getting, in my opinion, the best answer out of Pace out of a Tuesday Q&A. For anyone that's not in sub 2, you have no idea what that is. Just know that he spends time with us and gives us answers to everything we want. And I basically asked him, what's the key to manifestation? I was like, Pace, I don't really understand manifestation. I kind of lied, I do, but I wanted to hear it from him because I knew he would say it in a way that would click differently. I got him to go on an 1.5-hour tear about connecting dots in the most unique way. And he talked about how, and I'm going to just paraphrase this, he talks about how he got in with the Wolf of Wall Street.
Right.
This guy that you can...
When I watch this.
Dude, you can't... And I think so many of us were there. Ironically, like, all the high-level people were there, and they're all DMing me like, that was the best question ever. And the reality is Pace can't give anything right now financially to the Wolf of Wall Street. The guy's made it. He's a freaking Wolf of Wall Street, right? But then he goes and does the podcast interview. He has a great time. But he knows that the Wolf of Wall Street also knows extremely high-level people. He hangs out with high-level people. What does Pace do? Pace takes care of the assistant who books everyone, who has everyone's contact information. He does good things for her. He gets in with her.
Right.
And that's going to open up all those doors.
Right.
It's very interesting. Find the sphere of influence and see how you can bring value to it.
I love it. I'm going to try it out. Who knows? Maybe I'll get someone, or maybe I'll just be thought of as creepy. I'm going with a 50-50 chance on that, because don't
just randomly, like, if they've got like a 5-year-old kid, don't approach children or anything.
No, obviously I'm not going to do that, but I just mean, like, in the sense of like repost and stuff and all that. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try out your methods right now, and we'll see if I can get somebody on, like a big guy like that. That'd be interesting. I'm going to challenge myself now, because I've been afraid. Like, let's be real. I've had a mindset issue with that of like, man, like, I'd be nervous to even have like Carlos or Pace or Jamil, even if Pace and Jamil are my mentors, like it would be pretty nerve wracking for me to have them on the podcast. Even so, even though I know them really well, just because it's like, damn, dude, you are the busiest human being on earth. And the fact you took out time to come on this is pretty sick. But anywho, that's my mindset you, so I'm getting forced right now.
I mean, there's an element to that, right? Like, I haven't asked Pace, and I know that Pace would.
Yeah.
Pace loves you. He has a lot of love for both of us, and he takes care of us in a great way. I know that he'd say yes. Here's the thing. I was supposed to be on Pace's podcast like 4 months ago. And like, because of his schedule, he's filming like 60 hours a week, right?
Yeah. It's rough for him.
We've been forever extending me getting on his podcast. It's very interesting. I'm like, it's okay. So for some people, just accept that, like, it may not happen, and that's fine. But go find other people. Go open up other doors with, like, Pace is already your mentor. Jamil's your mentor. Go find other mentors. I was in Utah last weekend with Logan and Katie, his wife, and they're so amazing. They actually like paid everything for me to go and hang out with them in Utah to go to Chris Crone's event. And Chris Crone said something amazing. And he said that in life, he can never have too many mentors. And right now, how many mentors do you think you have?
Probably got like 4. I'd say there are 4 solid ones.
Chris Crone is like kicking himself because he thinks he needs more. He has 23.
I believe that.
And it's like, go open up more doors. And here's the thing. When you do that, go connect your mentors.
Right.
Go connect Pace with, I don't know, some super movie star. Go connect Pace with someone else who's killing it in another world of life, right? Enrich each other's lives in a massive way. And you'll see that one of the greatest things you can do is actually be a connector of human beings.
That's interesting. I like it a lot. I'm definitely going to try it. I'm going to be like, all right, let's see if I can get as cool as Sam. Let's try this stuff out.
And my thing with you is this, man. Everyone who meets you freaking loves you.
Yeah.
Everyone who does. Like, you've got a magnetic personality to you. You are robbing everyone of not getting to know you. I hope you realize that it is not okay. So you need to stop being selfish. You need to share your.
I love this. I love using that. I use that on everyone else when they don't want to start a podcast. It's the same.
It's true.
Same thing.
But it's absolutely true with you, especially because I know you so well, and you've actually been a phenomenal influence in my journey so far. And my thing with you is that it's one, you need to be brave, you need to be bold. And a lot of people are like, oh man, I don't want to go reach out to this person because they've got 2.1 million followers. Right. And it's like, I don't know how to. And it's like, just go freaking do it. And if they say yes because they got nothing better to do, great. Now your doors are going to open. Like, it's absolutely freaking amazing. It's amazing how things can snowball. Last year, I had, at this time, my biggest problem was that I just graduated from grad school. And my biggest problem was that I had no money and no idea what to do with my life. Because I had left my previous industry and I was stressing and I was going to YouTube University. That was my biggest problem. My biggest problem of spring last year was me getting ready for finals. My biggest problem now is how can I consistently scale my business to hitting multiple 6 figures a month? How can I bring more value to the people who are worth 20, 30, 40, $50 million who are my mentors, $100 million plus? How can I connect these dots? And now with doing the podcast, which wasn't even a super intentional, important goal for me, I've got crazier problems now. And it's because we just like actually got up and freaking did the thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I remember you didn't even know Logan that well. I feel like I kind of remember you asking me, being like, "Hey, so like, what do you think of Logan?" I'm like, "Oh, he's a dope dude," and you're like,
"Yeah." So Logan's dude. My relationship with Logan's very interesting. He joined Sub 2 right around the same time I did, like October, November, and he went to the mastermind. He's like, Pace, here's a bunch of money. I want to be your friend, and he like forced his way in. And I had like been grinding and making a name for myself. And Logan did this thing where he talked to like a ton of people. And then someone was like, hey, you need to go talk to Sam Singh. And then he just basically like hits me up one day. And I only knew him as the guy who was good looking and ripped and shirtless in Sub 2. And I was like, I can't tell if he's a jerk or just like, or should I just applaud him because he's in phenomenal shape? Because every time I saw him, I'm like, here's the shirtless guy again, the shirtless investor. That would be his nickname. Right. And then he calls me and we actually have a very interesting conversation because we find out I was killing it what I was doing. He was killing it what he was doing. There was no room for us to collaborate. We're like, cool, good luck, peace out, great conversation. And then he hits me up again. He's like, you know what? I was interested. I want to talk to you again. And we have like this amazing talk. We go on for like a couple hours. And then it was just that was it. We had like 2 main interactions. And then I think he was probably creeping on me in like Q&As and stuff. And he was like, why does Pace keep saying Sam Singh's name? Like,
Right.
why do you keep talking about this guy? And he's like, you know what? I like this guy. He's okay. He's all right. And then he comes out to Fresno, my town, for his daughter's swim meet. And him and his daughter, him and his wife and his daughters were there. They basically abduct me and like, hey, we're gonna take you to like 5-star restaurants 3 nights in a row. Amazing, right? And we just click in a very genuine way. And he's like, let's start a podcast. And then we're like, you know, we like talking. We like talking to each other. Let's go talk to more people together. And then I'm like, you know, I saw Marlon killing it with the podcast. I saw you doing so well with the podcast. I was just like, you know what? I see how podcasts can open doors. And full disclosure, we fully anticipated, or at least I did, for the first 6 months to only be talking to sub 2 students. There's nothing wrong with that at all because it's furthering relationships. But my whole thing was, I already know everyone in sub 2. I want, like, let's go create new problems. Let's go create new relationships. And then it was, I think it was me, the 4th episode. I was just like, let me slide into a guy's DMs who's worth like $500 million and just see what happens. And then we get him, and then Logan gets inspired. And now we're in this match about, let's see who can get a crazier guest every week. And it's like back and forth, like just competition. So I'm going to win.
Have 2 students on anymore? I'm curious.
Yeah, we do. We actually had Marlon on 2 weeks ago. We had Marlon on 2 weeks ago. But like right now, we want to bring so we can give to the sub 2 community.
I like it.
Right? Like, let's be honest. Everyone sees too much of Sam Singh, and everyone sees probably too much of Logan and Jonah and Marlon. Like, they all see us. And if we just keep bringing each other on, that's great. But it's like, I want, like, we're known commodity.
You need to know more people. I get it.
I need to bring in people that other people haven't seen yet because they'll get new perspectives. Everyone knows my stances on mindset. If you don't, let's go watch my thing with Marlon, and you'll actually see, like, through my trainings that I do for sub 2, through all the things that I do that are forward facing, like, I'm very consistent with it. But I want to bring in someone who's going to bring in thought processes and mindsets from another industry that are going to influence the way that you think and probably like have real profound impact. So I actually view it as an obligation to go out into the world and bring back people for the community. It's actually, for me, it's a form of community service. Like, look at Pace. Pace goes and creates great relationships, and he vets them and then brings them back into the community. I view it very much the same way, not just for the community, but for Logan, but for my circle, for people like you, because I'm always going to connect. If I bring in someone and they're amazing and I test them out and I vet them and I'm like, hey, this is a phenomenal person, my inner circle, I want to connect this person with everyone in my inner circle. So for me, Robert Wensley has had a profound impact on my business and just my personal life. And I'm like, Logan has too. I want to make sure Logan meets Robert. Logan's not a wholesaler. Logan has no reason to use InvestorLift, but he's still a great human being, and I want to open up doors for him. So that's a little bit of my thought process there. But yeah, dude, we've got like, we're going to have so many people that just have like nothing to do with real estate, but they're like Hall of Fame athletes, people on TV shows, people on MTV people maybe really soon.
I like it.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a great time.
Well, I'm going to try it out. We're going to keep talking because I want to see how it is. Like, I'm very thankful for having you, dude. I remember seeing you that first time on there, and I'm like, there is something about this guy. Like, this guy, like, I could sense it. I was like, this guy, there's something about him. So like, I just love seeing everyone's rise, dude. It's so cool. So cool seeing how you're blowing up. It's so cool seeing Munif blow up. So cool seeing like, there's so many other people, and it's just fun to watch everyone just exploding and like doing so well. It's nice. I love it. It's cool. It's cool to see.
No, it absolutely is, man. And it's one of those things when you and I first connected, you reached out to me and like, I had like heard about you and known about you. And I'm like, okay, he's a mastermind student. He's a big deal. I just like, I'm going to stay in my lane and not approach him. And then, but your first interaction with me, I believe, was when I was on that Q&A with Pace, where it was my first interaction with Pace ever directly. Pace I had never interacted before. And it was to tell him about like my dog almost dying and things like that. And then I had an outpouring of support, you being one of them. And it's like, and I remember that like it was yesterday. I remember walking around and being like, I'm on the phone with Jonah. Holy shit.
Yeah. I remember that being like, dude, I'm like, I think it's fun. There are some people who act like that. I'm like, man, all I've ever done so far in sub 2 is I just ask questions all the time. And I
That's
was
what
like,
you told me. You were
more or
like,
less
"Dude,
all I do.
I'm like, all I do is ask questions on Zoom and I wear a fancy robe.
Yeah,
That's,
exactly.
that's it. But it's like, but looking back at that and looking at how far we've both come. It's amazing. And one thing I'm so excited about is just the fact that I know that when I go out into the world and I create new relationships and new partnerships and new beautiful, beautiful things, like I want to bring it back to the people I care about because I
Right.
want to enrich their lives. Right. And this goes back to it, guys. It's like if I ever become a billionaire and you want to get in touch with me and I'm like out of reach because I'm so busy, like take care of Jonah, take care of Marlon, take care of Logan, take care of all these people that I love and care about. And then I will, like, out of my obligation as a human being, go out of my way to buy you a Lamborghini. Like, this is what we do. So I can't wait, man, to see your rise too. It's going to be insane.
I love it. So I completely derailed from whatever the original question was because I was so curious about that. What have
It's
you
like,
been up to, bro? Like, what's good? So podcasts, getting billionaires and shiznaz on there, but like, what about business wise? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's happening?
yeah. So we're building out. It's insane. So this year I hit my first couple of 6-figure months in
Nice,
wholesale.
love it.
And it was phenomenal, because
Absolutely.
I've been learning and learning and learning and learning, right? I'm at a point now when it comes to wholesaling, I probably know everything there is to know.
Right.
And now I'm at a point where I'm directly being mentored in wholesaling by people who are doing 7 figures a month wholesaling.
Love it.
And what we've actually gotten done is myself and I have 3 partners in this. They're phenomenal human beings, amazing people, just men of extraordinary integrity. They and I have collectively gone in the world separately, and we're trying to outdo each other. Like, I won because I went and hung out with a guy who's doing 2.25 million a month and did sustain that for like 2 years. And like I got the blueprint from him. And we found out that all the blueprints are effectively the same at that scale, but they're
Mm.
kind of under lock and key. We got the blueprint. Now we're actually just putting pedal to the metal. And it's crazy. Enacting that blueprint it ain't cheap. It ain't cheap at all. But if you do it right, which we are, it's just building out the monster for this. And like separately, all of us were doing 6-figure months, but to do it sustainably, predictably, scalably, because we all want to do 7 figures a month, we needed to team up the right way.
I love
And
it.
and now,
Do you guys own a wholesaling business together or what? Like, what do you mean team up?
yep, 100%. And we did it the right way. So you personally have guided me a lot with partnerships that have failed
Right.
because of various issues. And one thing that we did, all 3 of these other people, they've also had partnerships that have failed. They're a little bit older than me, so they've had more life experience. And what we actually did is amazing. Logan actually guided me in this too. We spent probably about 2.5 weeks, 2 hours a day before even talking about the company, like talking about LLC names and stuff like that, right? Going over conflicts of interest, personal involvement, roles, responsibilities, concerns, reservations. What is your family life like? Honestly, vetting each other to see, what do you do in the dark? And a lot of us, we have this notion of like, well, we're business partners, I shouldn't carry your own sins or your own sins. And Chris Crone said this last weekend, and I love this. And he said it with so much emphasis that it really landed. And Katie Manzanares shot me a look. There you are.
Yeah, I thought I got lost. I don't know whether you got lost or I got lost, but keep going. So you guys
Yeah. So Chris Crone, he says this on stage. He's like, I care very much about what you do in the dark. If we're going to be married together financially and the things that you do in the dark come to light, they affect my life.
Yeah, we were talking about this.
Yep.
How you do anything is how you do everything. That's the one I told you.
Pace taught us that.
Mhm.
Taught us that. You emphasized it to me. So
Yeah.
we spent probably 20 to 30 hours sitting down, talking about all of that open, putting it on paper. If X happens, then Y. If Y happens, then X. Right? What's it like? Because we all had our own separate wholesaling entities, right? Where's the conflicts of interest? Where are those lines? We talked about every eventuality ever. And then then we came to a consensus. We all agreed that this was the right move to go. Then we started looking at operating agreements. Then we talked about enacting the blueprint. We vetted that partnership out for probably like sitting down 2 hours a day for 2.5 weeks.
Damn. So what were the issues? How does one do that?
Do what?
Like, how do you do that conflict resolution? Because that's curious to me. If I had 4 partners, we all have our own wholesaling operation. Like, how the hell are we going to merge that together? This has been my issue with partnering up with anybody. Is I'm like, man, like most people, I feel like I love you, Sam, but like both of us, I don't know how. Both of us are just already at such a high level. It's confusing to me in my mind right now. Like, how would we even start a business together when it's the same business? That are like we talk about how we want to work with our competition, but in the end, you are my competition a bit. How do we
mergers are difficult? Mergers are difficult, and this was a lot, right? We actually talked about this. So for me, doing a 6-figure, a couple 6-figure months with a very, very, very lean team, very lean team, and I have partners who one of our partners he has like an apparatus. And what we basically talked about on paper is we gave ourselves timelines. We had to agree on this, that obviously I'm not going to ask you before we've even started to go and shut off this thing that you've been building.
Right.
But if we hit the success that we know we're going to hit based on the numbers by X amount of time, right? It's in the operating agreement, and it's a consensus between all of us that it has to be shut down or absorbed. So for me, my company, my team that I had in my company previously, right, is actually coming with me. I'm integrating all of it. It's being absorbed, and I'm finding ways to integrate everyone, and it's all being subsumed into the grand partnership the right way.
That's crazy. Okay. So 4 people, I usually think of integrator visionary. So what's each 4 persons doing?
It's funny. You ask yourself a question. You can do integrator visionary, right? You can do that if you want to do like 6 figures a month, you can do that. You want to hit $250,000 a month. You want to hit $500,000 a month. You want to hit 7 figures a month. You can't do it with only 2 partners.
Right.
You need to. So I take great pride in this. The 3 partners that I have, they're all way more experienced than me. They're older than me. They're family men, which matters so much to me in their moral integrity. And they just have such a high aptitude. One of them is probably the smartest human being I've met in this space. By far. And so like me, me, I'm a closer. I like talking to people. I can get sellers to sign on the dotted line. My highest and best use is to lead our acquisitions division. I am the head of acquisitions. I make sure my sales team converts. I make sure we get deals. I train killer closers. I stay in my lane. I own my lane. And then I help out as much as I can, right? Another one of our partners, he loves KPIs and metrics and marketing. He loves data. That's his lane. He owns it. He stays in it. And for us to hit the scale that we need to hit, we each have to dominate. Then we have one other partner who is only in charge of Dispo. His job is to stay in Investor Lift 24/7 and just own that. Own the Dispo packages. Like that's his thing, building relationships with buyers. And then we have a third person who's basically secondary on systems, managing all of the entire, like the team of people that we have, right? And keeping us on track in a bunch of different ways. And here's the other thing. When it comes to partnerships, guys, a lot of times we start partnerships because things feel good. And it's like, this is we've got a great vibe. Here's the thing. You need to be able to write out what your explicit roles and responsibilities are. Writing out what your deliverables are. Having accountability for all that. Showing up with actual output rather than just talking about showing up with output matters to the highest degree. And here's the thing. Even though things are great between us, man, we call each other out on so much crap. It's like, hey, so-and-so, you were supposed to show up with this, this, and this, and you only showed up with the first thing. What the hell happened? But it's holding each other accountable, because if we just stay on it, we can crush it. We can freaking crush it.
I'm excited.
But it's what it takes.
So is this just wholesaling, that operation?
That is a gigantic wholesaling monster. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Where are you guys at? Like what markets?
Do I want to say that?
I don't know. Do you? I'm doing it so people can send you deals. Like where?
I'm gonna go ahead and not say it because I don't know how they would feel about it. I'm open with, me, I'm an open book.
The only reason why I even asked that question is so the people watching can send you deals. That's what I'm thinking. Like, how about we leave it at just anybody? You can send any deal to Sam and he'll look at it. Doesn't matter where.
Yeah. If you send me
you want to try it that way, okay.
Go to every good hot market in the country. Draw like a 20-mile radius around each hot market. If the deal's there, send it to me. I'll buy it 100%.
Fresno, California is his favorite. He's constantly loves it.
Hate Fresno, dude. Hate Fresno.
Why do you still live there? I don't understand. You're making
because I'm in the only part of California that I can actually afford, bro.
Nah, you 100%. You just want to reinvest everything. You could for sure come out to the Bay Area if you felt like it. I'm just saying.
I am never going to the Bay Area, bro. I was traumatized by being in there.
I love it. We'll talk about it more off air on that. But dude, come with me to Denver, bro. Let's hang out.
I was going to say, shut up. You're going to make me go to the Bay so you can leave. Yeah, so you can go to Colorado. I'll definitely come to Colorado with you. I love it. Aspen's one of my favorite cities in the country.
Right.
But no, dude. So we do that, and then I'm taking down Airbnbs like no other. We're buying deals. We're doing arbitrage in a massive way.
No, but that partnership is doing all of those things. It's not just wholesaling. You're doing creative deals. You're doing buy and holds. It's not just wholesaling. Or are you doing
wholesaling first? Right. It's wholesaling first on the acquisition side.
Okay.
And then 100%. Are we picking and choosing what we want? Oh yeah. But I'm also like, I've got my own Airbnbs coming out. I've got extremely high level partnerships that are coming out on the Airbnb side. One of them, I can't go public with it yet. But this person may or may not be, like, honestly, probably the best Airbnb operator in the country. And I'll tell you more about it later. It's super dope. But then, like, I do fix and flips. Here's the thing. People are like, Sam, how do you, like, when did you learn how to fix and flip? Like, I've told you about this.
Yeah, we were talking about this.
Like, I just go out into markets, find people that I trust who are high-level operators, and I have the exact same discussions with them about partnership. I vet their quality of life. I vet their moral standpoint. I want to know everything about them if we are going to do business together in a meaningful way. And then if I agree with them, I like them, then we'll start doing flips together. I'll bring all the private money to the table, and they'll be the operator. And now I'm getting involved in fix and flips, doing the same thing with multifamily, doing the same thing with Airbnbs. But it's been a wild ride. I
love it, bro. I love it so much. I love seeing your success. I'm stunned by it because there's nobody who's done it as quickly as you have. Like you're skyrocketing, dude. It's cool to see.
I think there may be someone who's done it quicker than I have.
I don't think so. I highly doubt it. Even I think the only one who's close to you is Munif. I feel like you guys might be neck and neck, maybe. But like other than that, like I don't know, dude. Like it's pretty. Either way, I'm not like it doesn't need to be a competition. But like I love seeing all of it.
Well, here's the thing, right? And here's the thing about Munif. Munif is 100%. He's freaking blowing up in a beautiful way, and he deserves all the success that he has in front of him. And there's a lot of it in front of him. The thing about Munif is this: in my relationship with him, you know this. Munif has always been a close friend to me. When I first got into Sub 2, Munif saw something in me and was like, hey, Sam, because Munif is, I've only been in the game for 8 months. Munif has technically been in real estate for over 3 years now.
Right.
And so when I joined Munif, I actually told him this. When he took me under his wing, he's like, Sam, I'm going to help you out. You're going to come help me do my thing, and we're going to grow together. Munif and I had this agreement that his job was to help me outpace him. My job is to help the next guy outpace me.
I love that.
It's a game. It's competition into seeing who can just outpace each other the right way. 100%. So for people who are watching, 100% with if you guys notice it, competition is actually one of the funnest things out there for me. With Logan, I compete with getting better and better guests, right? With Jonah, you and I butt heads a lot in our business principles. I've noticed you and I, we actually view how to do business very differently sometimes. And then you're hardline stance against how I view things. I'm like, Jonah, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And then you're no,
are you talking about? I'm thinking about Vegas. We kind of butt heads a little bit in Vegas about me being. What was it? I'm trying to think of the example.
There's a lot. It's just it's fine though because it's just you and I do things differently. But then every time you do that, I gain more clarity in my own business model,
right?
Because I disagree with how you view things. And then, but it's now Daryl, and I know Daryl competes with me on like on his podcast, and he's like, I just need to get better and better people so I can keep up with Sam. And I'm like, I'm gonna fly away. I'm gonna be on a rocket ship and be so far ahead of you that you'll never be able to catch up. But I love you, and I'm gonna help you out no matter what.
Right, I
So
love it.
it's friendly competition inspired
Yeah.
by love, and then like you said, wanting to see everyone else just grow and grow and grow.
Yeah, 100%. No, 100%. Like I love seeing everyone blow up, and also you're getting a little bit of that fire in me. That's like, you know what? I should get on a fucking rocket ship and blast by Sam also, even though like you're blowing up faster than I can right now. But I love it. You're getting my competitive side going.
I want you. It's so funny. People are, because they don't have an abundance mindset. They really
Right.
don't. I want you to fly by me. I want you to be on a freaking, when a Tesla takes off, it's like craziest thing ever. I want to be in like a gas guzzling Hummer, like going like 2 miles an hour. And I want you to fly by in like a Tesla Model S. And when you do, because I know you and I know the quality of the human being you are, I know that once you get to the destination, you're gonna stick your hand back out and help people come with you. One of the superpowers that I have is finding people like you, and I just invest in you, and I invest in the relationship, and I want to push you. I want you to succeed, dude. Like there's so much that you and I will cross collaborate on how we do business, even though we're like competitors. I do the same thing with Medium Wave Dave. Medium Wave Dave actually has, like, at a time, he and I had the exact same business model, and that was wholesaling specifically to hedge funds.
Mm-hmm.
He and I were like competition in the exact same market. We were both operating in Atlanta.
Right.
And he and I still jumped on a 2-hour call every single week, talking explicitly what programs you're using, how much data you're pulling, what does that cost, what does that look like, and we would just help each other.
Yeah, bro. And you helped me a lot with the Airbnb arbitrage, so I'm super grateful for that, because I'm trying to Airbnb arbitrage in Colorado when I show up, try to do the whole live and be there arbitrage thing. So I'm appreciative of you, bro. Like I love it. Like 100%. What I'm imagining in my head right now is both of us are doing NASCAR, and we're like drifting right into the finish line, and then it's like, and it's just like, damn, nobody can even tell, dude. Like they just both beat everybody.
It's exactly right. And here's the most important part. But when it's all said and done, there's never going to be ill will.
Right, of course not. If you beat me at the race, like, dude, like, and I'm like, if like we were racing, for instance, I'd just immediately give you a hug and be like, good fucking game, like, good job.
GG, bro. Always. Yeah. It's phenomenal, dude. It's a great ride, and it's so much fun to do it this way. And here's my take on business, on losing deals. I'm going to lose deals to people no matter what. If I lose a deal to one of my best friends, then freaking hell yeah. And why? Because I'm going to make them take me out to dinner with the money they made on that deal.
Right, exactly.
It all comes back. It's all going to come back. So with you on the arbitrage, 100%, we're going to talk a lot about that. I want to connect you with some very high level people doing some very high level things in Airbnb, like higher level than anyone I've ever met.
Appreciate it.
And then you're going to see one of them on my podcast next month. It's going to be great.
I'm into it. Great. Bro, so we're past an hour. Obviously, we can talk a little bit afterwards, but I should probably shut this down because I've been trying to hit an hour and staying to it, and I keep going to an hour and a half. And I'm like, all right, we gotta like shut it when it's supposed to shut. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Anybody who already doesn't know this amazing man, how do the people get in contact with you? How do they slide into your DM, and especially your Tinder, bro? Because I know you're on that shit. Shiznaz.
I don't even know how Tinder works. I was about to is there like a verified on Tinder? I'm blue check marked on Tinder. 100%, guys. You guys can DM me on Instagram.
Is your name your Instagram? Is that you?
Yep. Okay, Skorch Sam Singh. 100% DM me on Instagram. Send me deals. Say nice things. Don't ask me to just jump on a call, please, please, please. Yeah. I love you all and I want you all to win. I just can't do it. But if you say, hey, Sam, here's a contract and a deal that's like, here's an Airbnb here's a creative Airbnb in Malibu, California. I'm going to drive to wherever the heck you are to talk to you about it.
Or even more than that, you literally just heard a whole thing about who's trying to connect to high-level people. Do you know any high-level people to help him get on his podcast? He'll get on a call with you for a couple hours if you do that.
100%. Last little tidbit, right, is that once you start getting into really high-level rooms, everyone in those rooms actually understands that the most important thing in life, in business, is actually relationships. So they don't want your money. But if you know someone powerful, wealthy, influential, connect those people.
Right.
So 100%, if you guys know anyone that's absolutely dope as heck and you want to connect to me, that's a great way to get on my good side. It's
I
a
love it.
great way to get me to talk to you for 2-3
Yeah,
hours.
100%. I love it. Use some of the skills he talked about in this podcast. All right, y'all. I'm gonna wrap it up. Everybody hit up Sam. Just say you're grateful if you have nothing right now. Trust me, he'll appreciate even that. If you just send him a message, be like, dude, I'm so happy you said all that. Trust me, it works on me. Blatant flattery. Always, it works on me still. If like you're really grateful, then I'm like, okay, maybe I will get on the phone potentially if I got the time. But anywho, I'm gonna wrap it up. Skorch the Fears, episode 29. Sam, you're a beast. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm gonna keep having you on just because you're a homie, and I love you, dude. So I'm gonna end it there. Love everybody who's watching this podcast. Next week we've got my business coach, Mike Mel, one of the 4 mentors I was thinking of. He's coming on next week. He's a beast. He runs. I don't know if you have a business coach, Sam, but you 100% should get a business coach. Like you should watch this episode and talk to him. Munif uses him too. Like if you need someone to just stay accountable and reach your goals, I'm like, damn, he's really good at it because he's very much. You basically meet with him once a week. It's a lot about like we'll talk about it next week, but it's a lot about identifying things about you, like the subconscious things, and then also keeping you accountable to deal with them. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a crazy episode. But he's on next week. What?
I said I can't wait.
Yeah, I know. He's on next week, guys. It's going to be special, but this was obviously special because Sam is special. And I will see y'all next week, 5 p.m. PST Thursday. Let's freaking go.